Boker Tov. Today's daf is daf Chof Tes in קידושין. We learned for Fushim, for Loza ben Ruma, and Yosef ben Chaim Michal. Right at the Gemara, we learned the Mishnah yesterday about the mitzvahs of a son on the father and the father on the son. And we learned, of course, the mitzvah say Sheshman Grama. Those mitzvahs are only for men, not for women. Mitzvah Loza say applies to everybody, or mitzvah say Shelo Azman Grama generally apply to everybody. Mitzvah Loza say apply to anybody except for the three exceptions mentioned at the end of the Mishnah. Says the Gemara. What do we mean mitzvahs of the son on the father? We're talking about mitzvahs that a son has to do for his father, things that he has to do. Nashim P'turos, or women potter from that. That's not the case. For Tanya, we learn ish. Ish would only say man, so we say a man, not a woman. Ish. How do we know the woman is also included? Mitzvahs keep it up, aim and yira, etc. Shuomer ish imo of tira'u. Tira'u is plural. You. Who is you referring to? Arikan Shaim, two people referring to men and women. Both boys and girls are mechuyev in kibbut aim and in yira. And fearing their father, not sitting in a seat, not contradicting him, etc. So what is it? So wherefore, what does it mean? You can't say the comments that Ben Av mean what are mitzvahs that a son has to do for his father, because that sounds like only a son, not a girl. Only the boys, not the girls. So what do you mean? If you mean mitzvahs that a son has to do for his father, how do you say nashim or p'turos from them? That's when Mishnah says comments that ben alav nashim chayav nashim p'turos. Women aren't part from kibbut aim. Or maybe mitzvah ben amatal salat. Mitzvahs that the son must be performed on. That the father has to perform these mitzvahs for his son. Comments ben mitzvahs that are matal salat, meaning the mitzvahs that the son has to do, has to perform or learn, but that are responsible. That the responsibility lies on the father to do it for him. Then those are nashim chayim. In other words, only the father is mechuyev, not the mother. Okay, and it's mitzvahs that a father has to do for his son. Only a father is responsible, not the mother. We'll see about this. What does this mean? Tanina, this Mishnah is a proof to lahad taraban. This we described in the brisa. That is the Mishnah that we're referring to here. They call mitzvah ben alav, that a father has to do for a son, is a reference to the brisa. That expands on it, that says the father is responsible to mal his son, to circumcise his son. The responsibility is on the father, not the mother. We'll talk in detail about that. But if those are to be pidyon aben, if he's the firstborn of breaking the womb of the mother, all right. Lam Torah to teach him Torah. Let's see Isha to marry him off. You have to teach your son to get married. Lam the umisin to teach him a craft. Yesham aflasitamayim, even to teach him to swim. One day he might be on a boat, the boat capsizes, and if he's not able to swim, he'll drown. If you don't teach your son a craft, you're teaching him to steal, to be a robber. Are you really teaching him robbery? I mean, he didn't enlist him in the mafia. So what does he mean? Why do you teach him robbery? If you don't teach him a craft, the only thing he's going to be able to do is steal. So therefore, teach him something by which he can make a living. That's what the Mishnah says. So the Mishnah means to say that a father is to teach his son these various things. Now we're going to analyze them. Lamulo, how do we know that a father is responsible to circumcise? The says Vayomal Abram es Yitzchak. It doesn't say Sarah. Vayomal Abram es Yitzchak. Yes, we did it by Tzipora later on. Sometimes a woman does do it, but she doesn't have the mitzvah to do it. The Molo says Vayomal Abram es Yitzchak. He did it. And if his father didn't circumcise him for whatever reason, his father wasn't around, was dead, didn't do it, whatever, then Bezdin, the local Jewish Bezdin is responsible for him. The local Jewish community is responsible to do it. The Bezdin, to you, speaking to the Bezdin, to Bnei Israel, you have to make sure that all your males are circumcised. If Bezdin didn't do it, the person has to do it himself. We find many Russians who came here in recent years who weren't circumcised. They had the responsibility to take care of it themselves if their father didn't do it. Any uncircumcised male that doesn't circumcise himself, he will be cut off. He will be punished with kara. So you see, there's responsibility on the person himself. How do we know that she's not mechuyev to that the mother is not responsible to mal the son, to circumcise the son? Him, not her. Shem commanded the father, not the mother. Ashka miyad. Okay, that was at that time. At that time, miyad, that we found right away. At that time, meaning at that time, at the time of Abram, there the commandment was. The Doris Manol, and how do we know that these things apply for generations as well? Right? It says How do we know that it was said to Avram? How do we know these things apply to later generations too? That it's on the father, not the mother, etc. As this, whenever it says a command, anyway, laziras miyad udoros. Sav is always a reference to something, do it immediately and for all time, for generations. Ziras means it means it's an enthusiastic. You're supposed to do with diligence and enthusiasm. That means for all. How do we know that Sav means miyad right away at that time and also for generations? It says Tzavas Yoshua, command Yoshua b'chaskeu and strengthen him, amtseu, and encourage him. Miyad, that's telling him Yoshua told him at that point. Tzavas Yoshua, that means right away miyad. Uladoros, how do we know it means for generations? We find the word siva when it talks about for all time. So whenever it says sav, it means both at that time and for all time. Liftoso, how do we know that a father has to do pidyon aben or son? The siv says kol b'chor barnecha tifteh. You should redeem from the kohen all the firstborn of your sons. If his father didn't redeem him, if he's, let's say, for whatever reason, his father's redemption for the kohen did not take, either the father didn't do it, he didn't have a father, or it turns out that the kohen was not a kohen. That's happened also on occasion. Then he's going to take care of himself. It says double lashon. How do we know that she's not responsible to redeem her son? Don't forget, this is a mitzvah say shaloas man grama, right? The minimum was 30 days, right? But it doesn't have to be exactly at a certain time during the day or at night or at a certain date. You can do it any time afterwards. So it's a mitzvah say shaloas man grama. So maybe a woman is responsible to do it for her son. How do we know she's not? Tipodeh, it says tifteh, it says b'chor b'nachat tifteh, but it can be read as tipodeh. Kol shemitzuba liftos atzmo. If somebody has to redeem themselves, if their father didn't do it, mitzuba liftos achem, he has to do some. He's mitzuba to redeem others, meaning the children. If somebody is not responsible to be for themselves, like the woman, as we'll see why in a minute, it's not mitzuba. How do we know she's not responsible? We understand she doesn't get circumcised, right? Because she doesn't have something to circumcise. Although they do this in certain terrible societies. They go inside and they circumcise women, but basically, women is only the circumcision is only on the male. But as far as redeeming, maybe she should be redeemed too. She doesn't have to redeem herself. The Siv says, again, so if somebody else be poted them, then mitzvah themselves. Then they would command it. But since nobody's responsible to be poted them, then they're not mitzvah to be poted themselves. And as it goes together. How do we know nobody else has to redeem her, the daughter? It's called so since your daughter, since nobody has to redeem you, your daughter, you, the girl, doesn't have to be redeemed by anybody else, therefore she's also not responsible to redeem herself, because he could read the pasuk as tifteh, because he could read the pasuk as tifteh, she should be redeemed, right? Tifteh means you should redeem them. It could also mean tifteh, that she should be redeemed. It could also mean tipodeh, redeem themselves, that she should wind up being redeemed. So we say that no, it's only your sons, and if it's only your sons, whoever is not responsible to be po to you, you're not responsible to be po to yourself. But if your father didn't do it, you have to do it yourself. Let's say a man was never redeemed by a kohen. There was no kohen around. He didn't have a father. He didn't have the money. Whatever it was. Let's say a man has two things in front of him. He has to be po to himself, and he has to be po to his son. Presumably, we mean he only had enough money for one of them. What's the priority? If you po to yourself, you were a firstborn to your mother, right? Firstborn to your mother. We'll see. It's not first. It goes by the mother. The father is redeemed, but it's a firstborn to the mother, and it's a firstborn to not necessarily to the father. The father might have many firstborn sons from different wives. Those according to the Petarechem has to be the first of the womb. Let's say he has in front of him. He has to be po to himself. He has to po to his son. Both of us. Who comes? He comes first, says the Tanakama. Po to himself first. As we'll see why in a second. Yehuda says, no, if you have a choice of you or your son, you should do your son first. Why? Because the mitzvah for you was really on your father. You were supposed to do it if you don't do it, but your father has an obligation to do it. That's really the main obligation on you was on your father, but this is for no love. That your son, the main obligation is on you, so your main obligation should be for your son first. So we have machlokas here. If you have a choice of you or your son, and for some whatever reason you can't do both, as we'll see. So who do you do first? The Tanakama says you should come first, or Yehuda says your son should come first. Everybody agrees to if all you have is $5 or 5 sellers, 5 shekels, whatever it takes to redeem a person, who come of no, right? Everybody agrees that if all you have is $5, you should do it yourself first. My time, a mitzvah to go by a mitzvah on your own person comes first. You got to take care of yourself before you take care of anybody, right? Just like when the plane's going down and the oxygen, first put the oxygen on yourself, and then you got to take care of yourself first. Keep ligi, of course, it's not the same as a mitzvah. Keep ligi. Let's say he has $5 handy, but he has $5 which is mortgaged to somebody else. Somebody else has got to lien. The money is with somebody else. Somebody else got to lien on that money. So what is it? Rav Yudasov, listen to this good svara. A loan that's in the Torah, it's as if it's written in the star. Meaning, as soon as you're born, there's an obligation. There's an obligation to for $5, right? That your father has the $5 now, or on you. So So therefore, if you say you have $5 which is mortgaged with somebody else, but there's a prior mortgage for you yourself, your body. As soon as you're born, you have that mortgage. That $5 out of your pot goes to the Kohen that has a prior lien. So therefore, I'll tell you what you do. Yeah, normally yours comes first before your son. But I'll tell you what, you got $5 handy. For that, you're part of your son. You say, isn't that cheating? Then because they're going to come after the but it's a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah to do it. Therefore, the milva that's written on you yourself, that you owe the $5 to the Kohen, that obligation took place at birth. So the $5 that you have, which is mortgaged with somebody else right now, came later. That's a later lien. So the money that you have handy, be part of your son. Let the Kohen come. Then you owe the Kohen another $5 for yourself. Yeah, well, somebody else has a lien on that money, but the Kohen had a prior lien, because as soon as you were born, all the Kohanim had a lien on $5 of your money. So if you owe $5 to somebody else, that lien took place later. That's the second mortgage. Yeah, we're talking only about it before, of course. Only if you're both before, of course. If you're before and your sons are before, yeah. Obviously, it's no issue. Yeah.
That's not really true, because the Kohanim have a lien on the boy, not on the money.
Right.
So it's not really
the boy or the money. Right. Well, they have a lien. Right. Yeah. They can take the kid. Right. You're right. It's a good point. But they have right. Yeah. Right. It's just okay. Just gets there. Right. So it's a good point. They have a lien on the boy or on the money, or on the money to be part of the boy. But they have some sort of a lien. They could say this or that. It's their choice. So that's how you should do it. In other words, therefore Rav Yehuda says everybody agrees if you only have $5, you should do it yourself. That part of yourself first. But if you really have 10, 5 handy and 5 that's mortgage, with the 5 that are handy, be part of your son. You have a mitzvah to do it. It's not really cheating because you owe the money. You have a mitzvah over here. And with the 5 that are meshubah, the 5 that are lean, the Kohen will come and take that. The Kohen will take that to be part of you. That's you. Rabbanan say no. This loan that's written in the Torah that you owe $5 to the Kohen, you need $5. That's pado. There's a mitzvah. You're right. You can take him, but it says it's a mitzvah to be paid him. That padiyism. It says pado. Yeah, you can take. What do you like? Like the Kohen always says. So you want the $5, or you want me to take the $5, or take your son, right? But which one do you want? But the point is, there's a mitzvah to be poden. So that mitzvah is like a lien. The Rabbanan say mitzvah to some rice is not superstar. It's not like a real lien. You have an obligation. It's a mitzvah. It's not a lien. The hilkach mitzvah to go for that. Therefore, you only have $5 handy, and therefore be poden yourself. And therefore, the $5 that are lien to somebody else that somebody else has a mortgage on, you can't take that money. The Kohen can't take that money, and therefore, the son will remain unredeemed until he comes up with some more money or whatever, until later on in life. Let's say you have a choice. You can either spend $5 on a ticket to Yerushalayim for the Rego to come up to for Yontif, or you can be part of son. Which one? You should put it yourself first, and then all the Rego. If you don't know all the Rego, you should go the Rego. Aliyah Rego. If you miss Yontif, you're not going to be able to go. You missed it. That's a mitzvah, a passing mitzvah. Pediyas beno, being part of your son, you could always do it later. Do it after Yontif. But if you spend the $5 on being part of your son, you'll miss Aliyah Rega. You can't make that up. So Vishlam Rav Yehuda could have come in time out. Rav Yehuda give his reason. He says because it's a mitzvah overus. Ela Rabbanan, my time. What's the reason why the Rabbanan say that? What Rabbanan say that what you should be part of your son first and then be Ola Rego, meaning you might miss the Rego. That's what it says at the end of what is it? Bo, at the end of Bo, right? No, it's later on, at the end, later on in Shmos, right? Then there's another pasuk Kaddish Li, it's also mentioned there. It says first, it says specifically, it says be part of your son, and then don't appear empty-handed and the regal. Let's say he had 5 sons from 5 different wives, and they were all firstborn to the wife. They were all Petharechem. All the Bechors, of all your sons, not a tifta. Just Pshita, but Petharechem. The pasuk says called Petharechem Li. So of course it's Petharechem. It's obvious if you had 5 wives and they each had a firstborn son. If brother Mao the same in there, Bechor Minachla. Nachla Rashis Ono. It's the first of your strength, meaning your first, the husband's firstborn. Afkan Rashis Ono. Even though it has to be Petharechem, but it also must be, maybe it's 2 requirements. It has to be Petharechem and also Rashis. Must be her firstborn and his firstborn. Kamashman, we don't say that. The Lamdo Torah. We said that a man has to teach his son Torah. Again, that obligation is on the man, not on the woman. It says, you must teach your sons. Okay. Pasuk was speaking, how do we see it from that? Pasuk says, right? Pasuk says, okay, teach your sons. That's how you know you can teach your sons Torah. That's the Pasuk job. And now, how do you have to teach your sons? If his father didn't teach him, he has to learn himself. This is a different Pasuk. This is a Pasuk in back before the Seres Dibros in Vaschanan. So one pasuk is which we know is in Vayim Shmo, which is at the end of Ekev, and then we have Ulamaratem from Vaschanan. It says both Ulamaratem teach them, and Ulamaratem you must teach. How do we know that she's not mechuyev to teach her sons? How do we know that she's not mechuyev to teach her son Torah? We put both of these things together. You must teach and you must learn. If you're commanded to learn, you have to teach. If you're not commanded to teach, you're not commanded to learn. How do we know she's not mechuyev to learn herself? How do we know she's not supposed to learn herself? Maybe it says again, just like he had before in Amadal, you learn the both ways. If somebody else is mechuyev to teach him, meaning the boys, right? Himself. If somebody else is commanded to teach you, your father's commanded to teach you Torah, you're also commanded to learn yourself. If somebody else is not mechuyev to teach you, teach yourself. How do we know nobody's mechuyev to teach the girls? It says, so therefore, since women are not, you're not mechuyev to teach your daughters Torah. Obviously, you're mechuyev to teach them basic Torah, but maybe you're not mechuyev to teach them the drushos and chazal and Talmud, etc. In any case, we're not going to go into that now. Today women learn almost as much as men or could. So, but it's the mitzvah is so since you're not mechuyev to teach your sons, and therefore your daughters, you're not mechuyev to teach your daughters, they're also not mechuyev to learn themselves, as we see them. Let's say you have a choice. Either you can learn yourself or your son. You could send your son. You don't have enough money for both you to sit and learn and your sons to sit and learn. So he comes first. You should learn yourself and not your son. If his son is enthusiastic, is diligent, he's salted, meaning you can tell he learns well with Talmud, he retains his learning. His son should come first if he doesn't have enough money. Rav Yaakov, the son of Rav Yaakov. Here again, you see another example of how the grandson was named after the grandfather. So this Rabbi Yaakov Bar Avacha was sent by his father Bar Avacha to learn in Abaye's yeshiva. He also, when the son came home for Ben Azmanim, he saw that he didn't learn that well. It wasn't such a good. Amalei, I know different. I can learn better than you. Tova, you stay home and watch the store. The Hazelana, I will go and learn. You stay home now, and I'll go to the yeshiva. Shema Abai the Kohave Osi. Abai heard that Rav Yaakov was coming to the yeshiva. There was a demon in the base manager of Abaya. Whenever two people come in, it was common that the demons attacked, attacked in even numbers. So they said, don't do the even numbers, or Dafka do the even numbers. Here he says, when two people coming together, even during the daytime, they would be injured. In other words, this terrible demon injured people even when they came in two at a time, even during the day. So Abai said, listen, I hear Rav Yaakov is coming. Nobody should let him stay. Nobody should let him board in their houses, in their homes, so that this Rav will be forced to sleep in the base medrash, and because of his great schus, maybe he'll take care of the demon. So nobody should give him any boarding. Maybe in the milk, whatever. Oh, so Rav Yaakov Taka came there. He slept Taka in the base medrash. He saw the demon. It appeared to him like a dragon with 7 heads. And every time he prayed that the demon shouldn't hurt him, every time he bowed down in prayer, one head fell off, until finally the demon was destroyed. He told him the next day, and it not happen a miracle, you put me in danger by repeating this. But that was the story. So, but you see here that the father saw that his son wasn't learning so well, he took his place in the yeshiva. Let's say he only has enough money or enough wherewithal or for not even the question of the son himself. You have a choice. Should you go to yeshiva or should you get married? Which of the two? It's always the debate. Should you get married first or should you learn first? You should first learn Torah after Isha. Learn Torah first. Why? Because if you get married first, the obligations of the home will prevent your good learning. If he has here Hurim and he has a terrible and he's got a strong desire to get married, a physical desire, if it's impossible, you say you should get married first. It depends on the person. You should first get married first. Some rabbis have said it's better to get married first, so he won't have tivus for other women. He won't run after women. He'll be settled at home and then learn Torah. If there's a millstone around his neck and he's going to be able to learn Torah, nothing does he have the obligations of maintaining a household. How's he going to have a mind to learn? Below plea, there's really no machlokas halon v'alahu. So Rashi explains like this: one is for us, one is for them. For us who live in Bavel, who learn Torah in Eretz Yisrael, so we get married, leave our wives at home in Bavel, and we learn Torah. So when we learn Torah, we don't have to worry about the household back in Bavel. So we should get married first. But the ones in Eretz Yisrael who are learning near their homes, that's not so good because the obligations of the home are upon them. So it depends on this, and that's obviously each case is different, etc. We're going to see more about that now. Rav Chisda was talking to Rav Huna, and he was praising Rav Hamnuna. He says to Adam Gadol, he's a great man. Amalei, so this happens very often in Shas. So Rav Huna said to Rav Chisda, Amalei, when he visits you, you bring him to me. When he comes to you, bring him to me. Kiyasa, when he bought Rav Hamnuna, he said he wasn't wearing a hat. Right? In those days, the ones who got married would wear a hat. That was the custom, right? Some different communities have different customs. Today, we put on a talus when we get married, right? People wear a talus in general. In Ashkenazim, there were people in Europe, different communities that when they got married, they grew a beard. It all depends on the custom. So he saw that he wasn't wearing a hat. I'm like, my time of the person, why aren't you wearing a hat? I'm like, no, I'm not married. I drew up him. He turned away from me. He said, you're not married. He got disgusted because he wasn't married. I'm like, make sure you don't come to me anymore. I don't want to see your face again until you get married. Rav Huna went according to his reasoning, right? That's what Rav Huna said. Rav Huna said, bring him to me. Got upset that he wasn't wearing a hat, he wasn't married. And he said, listen, you're 20 years old, you didn't get married, you're always in an Avera. Avera Sakadatach, he's doing Averas. What is he? He's being promiscuous over here. If he doesn't have a way to release his desires, right? 20 years old and he's not married, he's always having Yehurim. It's not healthy. Person should be married by the age of 20. Amarava. He says like this, until 20 years old, Kadosh Baruch Hu says, well, when is he going to get married? Once he reached the age of 20, he didn't get married. Omer, Hashem says, let his bones be blown up. In other words, he's angry that he didn't get married there. He should have got married by the age of 20. Omer Christo. The reason that I am better than my friends, presumably in learning, than my colleagues, that I got married at the young age of 16. So I didn't have any problem with women, etc. I didn't have any problem with that because I had a wife already at the age of 16. You having to sit there. I said, had I got married at 14, don't forget the life expectancy in those days wasn't what it is today, right? So if I would have gotten married at 14, I would have said, listen, I would have told the Satan, I would have told the Satan, an arrow in your eye. In other words, I wouldn't have had any desire. Had I gotten married at a young age of 14, I would have never had any. It wouldn't have to deal with any sexual desires. I would have gotten married. It would have been even better. So he says that's what he said. Look, I got married at 14. I was in good shape. While your hand is still on the neck of your son, while you still have control over him, so get married. You should marry him off from the age of 16 till 22. That's the lower limit and the upper limit. He says, while you still have control, after 22, you're not going to have any control over him. Some say the that's from 18 until 24. That's the age limit. So Rashi is over here. Actually, we'll see. Let's finish the Gemara here. Says the pasuk in Mishlei, teach a child according to his way. In other words, each child according to his maturity, etc., his level of learning, according to what he's able to do. Here's talking about the learning from the age of 16 until 22. From 18 until 24. So Rashi says the preferable explanation, of course, based on this machlokas Tanan, is not at what age should you marry him off, right? He gives one from the age of 16 till 22, from 18 till 24, but rather those are the ages in which you should teach him, scold him, and teach him the right way of life. Under the age of 16, he won't accept it, right? He's going to run around. He doesn't have the das to accept it. And after the age of 22 or 24, he's not going to listen to you anymore, right? He'll just, kick you. He's going to be independent. So teach him. So it could be referring to both marriage, but the preferable pshat Rashi says, Zaiker is that from the age of 16 to 22, from the age of 18 to 24, that's when you should have an influence on your son and teach him the right way. I will pick him here tomorrow, Miss. Have a good day.